Pros and cons of being a 15-year-old teen mum. If you don't already know, this is Cash. He's 2.5 months old, and I fell pregnant with him at 14 and gave birth to him at 15. So one of the pros that I guess could also be a con is that I'm going to grow up with him. So I'm going to experience more life with him, challenges, goals achieved, which I'm really excited. He's going to be by my side every step of the way, and I'm just so excited to watch him grow while I'm also growing. As a person, but obviously just growing up in general. Another negative, but I got used to it really quickly, was people staring. They started staring when I got pregnant. It wasn't until I was a lot bigger and closer to giving birth, but they stare now, even when I'm just pushing the pram. Going along with that, people do judge. Maybe not to my face. Some people have judged to my face, but also indirectly. I get to love him longer. I get to have him for longer, which is just so exciting to say, I guess. People always try and give me advice I don't know what I'm doing, which some of it's good advice and I'm grateful for it, but other times I'm doing that, or I already know that, and they think they know my baby better than I do. Another pro is he saved me. I was going down a really bad path in life, and then when I fell pregnant with him, everything changed. My mindset changed, my attitude changed. I just wanted to do better for him and give him what he deserves. Something a lot of people do is they assume my mum parents him, which my mum does help out, I will admit that, and she's the best help and she's amazing, but she grandparents. There's a difference between grandparenting and parenting. Yes, she will be looking after him while I go to TAFE, but that's 9:30 to 3. After 3, I'm looking after him, I feel having him made me bond more with his dad and have a stronger connection, if that makes sense. A pretty obvious one is that I can't drive, so I am relying on my mum and people around me to drive me and him to appointments and just places we need to go. People always assume that I need help or that I'm clueless, when he's crying or just in general when he's just fussing. I know after he has a bottle and he's fussing, it's because he has wind. You don't need to tell me, oh, I think he has wind. I know, he hasn't burped. But yeah, that's all for today. Bye, guys.
I got pregnant at 14 years old. Let's talk about it while I eat. Something people always ask me is how my parents reacted. I feel they took it pretty good. They were mad, they were upset, they were disappointed. But they took it better than I thought they would. I moved back in with my mom, started doing ultrasounds and baby appointments. Once I was completely moved back into my mom's house, she had asked me what I wanted to do for school. I told her I didn't want to go back to school, so we ended up doing online school, which is the best decision I ever made. I knew immediately that I didn't want to go back to school just because people can be mean. And since I was so young, it was the summer after 8th grade that I got pregnant. So I wasn't even in high school yet. Look how good that looks. I officially had my son when I was 15 years old. His dad did stay around, and he's been around ever since. Always say I do not support teen pregnancy, but I do support teen parents, because being a young parent is hard. In my situation, I feel I got lucky in a way. Once the baby came, we went straight to my mom's house, which was hard because Zach couldn't be there, but he couldn't sleep over, so that was hard because I was stuck with the baby at night. But when the baby was 2, almost 3 months old, we ended up moving to our own place. And when we moved into our own place, I was still 15, Zach was 16, turning 17. We lived there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and then we found out I was pregnant. I am 17 years old, by the way, but I did find out I was pregnant at 16. I actually do feel I panicked more than with Joshua. I was comfortable where we were at, and I knew our situation was gonna have to change if we were keeping the baby. We started looking for places to stay after that, move into, and we ended up finding where we live now, and it's in a very nice area. Once we found this place, we submitted our application right away. Our application got approved, and we moved in, I think, 2 weeks later. We've been living here since December, and it's been the best couple. We have a baby girl on the way. We are very fortunate for our situation. I'm grateful for everything we have, because I know teen pregnancy, being teen parents doesn't go as smoothly as it did for us. Granted, Zach is very hardworking, and we both gave up a lot to be in the situation we're in right now. 17 with an almost 2-year-old, a baby girl on the way. I got pregnant at 14, and this was my story. Bye.
A lot of people say motherhood is a life-changing aspect. Is it really the same for the teen mothers, for the girls that get pregnant at an early age of 14, 15, 16, or even 17? In this video, we are going to be hearing from some of the kids or the girls that got pregnant at an early age, what their parents' thoughts were, how their parents reacted, and what they went through or what they are going through at the moment. You can as well drop a comment, let us know. In this other video again, we are still talking about early pregnancies and how it changed a lot of lives of these people that have gone through it. And people that are out there in the comments, please drop a comment, let us know how it has changed you, how it shaped you if you are one of those young mothers, how things happened and how things are going, and what you would tell your kids in case they are girls about pregnancies. Let's go. This is another video also talking about the same topic. I just wanted to give you this video in bits such that we can learn a few things out of it. Please remember to share it, teach the kids, tell them what is true, and let's go.
Story time on how my mom found out that I was 16 and pregnant. So if you don't know me, I had my first daughter at 16. I'm 28 now and she's 12. So before I go forward with the story, my mom was an amazing mom. She literally did everything by the books, did everything right. Me and my sister just was really fucking sneaky. And I'm saying my sister because my sister was pregnant as well. We are also identical twins, and no, we did not plan it. So I met my daughter's dad at a party, literally a party. Mind y'all, keep in mind that I'm 16 years old. I say that to say that the only reason why I was attracted to him is because I thought he could dance. I told my friend, like, oh, I think he's cute. After we all left, we were all walking home from the house party. She said something to him, and that is how we met. Long story short, y'all, I ended up getting pregnant. When I got pregnant, I was in denial. I never took a pregnancy test. I only based it off the fact that I didn't have a period. Obviously, I didn't tell my mom. I told my twin sister, and she said that she was pregnant too. So twins ovulate at the same time. Well, at least me and my sister do, and we still ovulate at the same time, still to this day. It's crazy. So months and months pass, y'all. We don't say anything to our mom about us feeling like we're pregnant. We're so young, we don't even know that there's like other options. Like you could take a plan B, you can, weigh out your options. We don't even think about any of that. So we just let the time pass. One day my mom calls us down. It's me, my sister, my little brother. He's 5 years younger than us. And then we had like a baby brother at the time. I think he was like two or three. She called us down and she's like having a family meeting, and she wants to tell us that she's expecting another son. Or she was expecting. I don't think she knew what she was having at the time, but she was expecting another baby. When she told us that, me and my sister looked at each other and we was just quiet. All right, y'all, my phone is about to die, so I'm gonna have to hold it like this. But yeah, so she told us that she was expecting. Me and my sister, we thinking like, oh my fucking gosh, it is about to be three pregnant females in this household, and there's about to be 3 babies. I remember my mom asking us, like, y'all not happy? Like, why are y'all so quiet? Because we was so in tune with our little brother that she had. We were asking to have him at nighttime. Like, we wanted to hold him, feed him, wash him up, all types of stuff, y'all. We absolutely adored our little brother. So I feel like she was not expecting that reaction. And obviously, we didn't expect to give her that reaction. We just was like, what the fuck? I kid y'all not. After that conversation, my mom was like, I'm putting y'all on birth control. It was a little too late for that, though. So she takes us to our PCP, and she's like super cool with our PCP. She comes to the appointment, and when you get put on birth control, you have to take a pregnancy test before you get on the birth control. I don't even know why that wasn't clicking for me and my sister. We didn't even think about that. We knew at this appointment that she was going to find out that we was pregnant, and that's all we was thinking about. So we take the test. After we take the test, our doctor comes back into the room, and she's like beet red, y'all. Beet fucking red. Me and my sister just like looking at each other, talking to each other, like twin shit. Like, we like, shit is about to hit the fan. She's like, Keisha, both of the girls are pregnant.
Get ready with me while I do a story time on how I found out I was pregnant at 15. So starting off, we're gonna run this back all the way to beginning of December, when I went on a cruise with my little sister and my mammal to the Bahamas. So on this cruise, we went on it for a few days to the Bahamas, and I felt fine the whole entire cruise. Like, it was so much fun, and I'm underage, so I can't drink, so I had all my virgin drinks. And I think I got sick like one time, but then I took Dramamine, and it was fine. The only thing I really noticed that could indicate that I was pregnant was it was supposed to be that time of the month for me on a cruise, but I never got it, so I didn't really think anything of it though, because I never keep track. But now things took a turn when we were on our way home. So we had a layover, which is 2 flights in one day, and the first flight we were on, I was completely fine. Like, I was not sick or anything, and so we were in Washington to board the plane and then go to Ohio. I was so nauseous. Like, I was asking my mammal to lay on the floor because I was so nauseous, and she wouldn't let me. When we landed in Ohio and we were on our way home, I was just so tired and nauseous. I was just excited to go home because I get homesick from my mom. That's a fun fact. So I missed her, and I was so tired and nauseous. And I was just like trying to get my luggage and just go home. I remember when my dad picked us up, I had to roll down my window. I was so nauseous, I was gonna puke everywhere. Over the next few days when I got home, I was super, super sick, but the thing was, I was only puking in the mornings, which is a huge sign that you're pregnant. I didn't think anything of it. But the weird thing is that I've been on 6 cruises, and every time I've never been sick like this, so I knew it wasn't the cruise. I then had my friend Jenna go ahead and get me a pregnancy test, because I was like, there's no way that I'm pregnant, but I'm still gonna, make sure. Next thing you know, of course, it came out positive, but I walked out and I looked at Jenna and I was like crying, but my face had a smile on it, and I was like, there's no way this is happening. She made the biggest mistake by telling me that it could be a false positive, because then I just thought I wasn't pregnant and it was just a false positive, but I didn't realize how rare false positives are. I then waited and then had my dad's girlfriend's daughter, Riley, get me 4 more pregnancy tests at Target, took them all, and next thing you know, they all came back positive. Then I figured out that I was for sure pregnant. The next day I went to my mom's house and I told her. I ended up getting grounded, and then the next few months were awful. I was pretty much in and out of the ER the next few months. I was puking my guts out, trying to manage school, dealing with issues with relationships and people and whatnot. After we got past it bump in the road, it kind of went smooth. Everyone just kind of was supportive. I had my baby shower, my gender reveal, and it was super nice. The one thing I will say is that I appreciate all the love and support, because it has helped me drastically these past few months, especially just mentally, so I appreciate that. Love you guys. Now for my little haters out there that say, you could have prevented this. I know. I made some decisions that I am not proud of,
But at the same time, I know a lot of people make decisions that you think would take you one way, but end up leading you a complete opposite direction. One thing I want to address is that I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to promote teen pregnancy and say you should go get pregnant as a teen. What I am saying is that I do support the teens that end up getting pregnant accidentally and didn't know that they were going to. And I support and encourage them to like push through it, because it has been so hard. I could never imagine, like, if I didn't have my support system and my family, where I would be right now. But thank God I have amazing supporters, and it's made this process a lot easier. So I'm supporting the people that might not have that to keep pushing through it, because I promise you it will get better. Anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate everything. You guys don't know how much everything means to me. And yeah, love you guys.
I got pregnant on purpose at 17 years old with my boyfriend of 3 months, and I'm going to tell a story about why we chose to get pregnant at such a young age. Let me paint the picture for you before we get into why we decided to get pregnant, because I feel like you have to have the background in order to understand the decisions we made. So I met him in November of 2017, and he was actually new to the school that year because he was in foster care, and he was supposed to go back to his home later that year, so he wasn't really trying to make any friends, and especially not trying to get a girlfriend. But of course, when he met the love of his life, he couldn't resist. So like I said, I met him in November, and then in January of 2018, I asked him to go to prom with me, and he said yes. So from that point, we were talking. April 21st, we went to prom together, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. And like I said, we got pregnant on month number 3 of dating, and we got pregnant on purpose. So now we're getting into the tea. So basically, you know the mushy gushy stuff that kids say to each other when they're dating, like, oh, we're so in love, we're gonna be together forever, and you're just in that honeymoon phase. Well, that is exactly where we were at when we decided that we would no longer be using protection, because the thought of a baby just seemed so easy. We were like, if we get pregnant, it's okay because we're gonna be together forever anyways, right? When we decided that we would no longer be using protection, it was summertime, so we just had a lot of time on our hands, and that is what led to me finding out that I was pregnant the first day of senior year. So I remember the first day of school taking a pregnancy test, finding out I was pregnant, putting it in my backpack, taking it to school, and telling him I was pregnant at school. I mean, we weren't very shocked, right? Because we knew what we were getting ourselves into. So when we found out that I was pregnant, it didn't really hit us until we got our first ultrasound, and we got that at 12 weeks, and so there was a full-on baby at that point, and we just realized, like, oh my gosh, there's a real baby in there. We're actually going to be parents. So my husband stepped up and he got a job at McDonald's. I had a little bit of complications during my pregnancy with like preterm labor, so I never got a job, and I've just been a stay-at-home mom ever since. And he became an electrician when my son was 3 months old, and then when my son was 5 months old, we got our first apartment. And fast forward 7 years, he's a journeyman electrician. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool our kids, and I do social media, and I just feel like we're thriving, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for us. So that is my story. And no, I'm not condoning teen pregnancy, but I'm allowed to tell my story.
Get ready with me while I talk about how I found out I was pregnant at 16, and also what my parents' reaction was. Okay, so I was staying the weekend at my former best friend's house, and it was a Friday night, I think, when I found out. Okay, so looking back on it, I was obviously like an idiot teenager for thinking this, but I was not a person that got regular periods. I would miss it for like a month and then get in, and it was kind of all over the place. So I thought, like, if you went long enough without having like a normal period cycle or with missing periods, like, I thought it made you infertile. So I was under the belief there was no way I could get pregnant, and that pretty soon, like, I was gonna reach the point to where I would become infertile. So you're probably thinking like, wow, she is such an idiot. People in the comments were like, did you not notice you weren't getting your periods? But my periods already weren't normal, so I didn't think anything of it. But yeah, so it was a Friday night, and I was actually planning on hanging out with people that night. I had no idea I was pregnant. I remember I was sitting on my former best friend's couch, and we were like starting to make plans, and I told her just out of the blue, I was like, you know what, I'm having to pee a lot. Like, that's weird. I was like, absolutely not, there's no way. So just to get her to like stop saying it because it was freaking me out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna Uber to test. So I Ubered to pregnancy tests from CVS, and it was in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it was. Her mom came downstairs to eat, so I waited for her mom to go upstairs when they got there, like when the test got there. And also, I did not know how to read pregnancy tests either. So I'm like looking at it and I'm searching it up, and so I was trying to convince myself, because I was in denial. I was like, there is no way that this is a plus sign. As I feel like anyone would, I broke down crying and screaming and called my parent, who was actually like a couple hours away at this time. and I only have one parent, so I didn't really have anyone else to tell. But I called her immediately, and I was like, you're never gonna believe it. And she did not, back on like onto her reaction, she did not believe me. She thought that I was joking about it. But I mean, obviously it was like a shock for both of us. And I was the one that was freaking out. So she was just like, calm down. But like I said, she was hours away with friends, so she was just kind of like trying to comfort me because I was the one with the reaction. And she was just like, try not to think about it, like in a couple days, or I think it was like a day. It was just a day. But she was like, in a day, like when I come back, we'll talk about it and like we'll figure everything out. But yeah, so I was literally freaking out. I had no idea what I was gonna do because I did not find out I was pregnant early on, like when most people do. They're not able to like deduct a normal due date. So right now we're kind of just like playing it day by day because there's no way to really know. And I'm basically just gonna like have my baby when I have my baby. But I'm due in October. But yeah, so getting pregnant young was definitely never something I expected for me. But I mean, it is what it is. It already happened. But yeah, so that is pretty much all. And let me know if you have any questions.
You do not have to lose your spark, your spunk, your pizzazz, your groove, your personality, or your color because you are a mom. Life is not over because you are a mom. I got pregnant when I was 19 and soon after turned 20. By the time my daughter was just a few months, I turned 21. On my 21st birthday, I was literally sitting in my chair in my room, a hard wooden chair in my room, pumping and breastfeeding. When she was asleep, I was pumping. When she woke up, I was breastfeeding. And I realized that day, my 20s are over. At least that's how I felt at the moment. My 20s are over. It's over for me. I can't be this. I can't be that. I can't do this. I can't do that. When I found out I was pregnant, I told myself I wasn't going to color my hair anymore. And if you know me, you know that I've had so many colors. I took out all my piercings. Again, if you know me, you know I used to have a lot of piercings. I completely changed my aesthetic, my personality, everything. And some of it was my decision, and other parts of it was just sort of losing myself to motherhood at such a young age. I couldn't just go out and do what my friends are doing at 21 because I had a daughter so young, right? Has somebody told me that life is not over because you have a kid? I feel like my 20s wouldn't have been as tough as they were. I feel like I got rid of who I really was because I feel like that was the right thing to do. Because once you become a mom, you can't be this certain type of person, or you can't have this type of fun, or you can't dress spunky anymore. You can't have all these piercings and this colorful hair. You have to be this cookie cutter, modest mom. And that's a lie. If that's not who you are, it's not who you are. You don't have to change who you are because you're a mom now. As a matter of fact, your child needs to see who you are authentically. That's just how I feel about it. I've been saying this for years, but because of the Keke Palmer situation, I feel like it's a perfect time for me to say it here on the internet.
So in light of Mother's Day that is coming up, I decided to share my teenage pregnancy story. So, for those who don't know, I fell pregnant at 16 and I gave birth at 17. So back in high school, I was in a very racist school, and yes, I have to mention that I was in a very racist school, and some of the things that we experienced were due to the color of our skin, and that is okay. I guess it's life, right? So back then, I was actually pregnant at the same time as one of my closest friends. Like literally, our kids are like 1 month apart. So we're at school and it's all fun and games, right? Her belly was literally so big that she could not hide it. Mine at that time was still a little bit small. I think it's because I was carrying a girl. Because apparently if you're like having a girl, your tummy is a bit smaller. I don't know how true that is, but I guess that's why mine was a bit smaller. So at that time, mine was barely visible, but hers was so big. And so the teachers obviously caught on to the fact that she is pregnant because she could not hide it, you know? Okay, fast forward, they called in her mom and they wanted to fail her. And her mom was part of like the Department of Education, something. I don't really know the correct terminology, but she was part of something in the education of your Department of Education. So anyways, they called in her mom and then they reached a conclusion that she will start sitting at the office every day until she gives birth and whatever. She'll start sitting at the office, and then they'll have someone send her schoolwork, and that was just a bunch of BS, to be honest. And then they said she wasn't gonna start wearing school uniform anymore for comfort, obviously. And yeah, that was the agreement that they reached, right? Cool. What am I gonna do about the situation? Because I have physics, I have accounting, I have pure maths. Like, I cannot afford to be sitting in that office and having someone like bring me my work that I don't even understand. I need to be taught these things, So how am I gonna get through this? So I started panicking and stuff like that. Obviously, I used to cry myself to sleep almost every night, not knowing what to do about it. And then I asked my friend, I was like, what, please talk to your mom and let's see what I can do about my situation, because my belly's also gonna start showing like very soon, And then her and her mom advised me to hide it. And so I hid my belly for 9 months. 9 months. And when I tell you that God is good, God is really good, because they only found out after I gave birth that I was actually pregnant. And I went to school until 3 days before I gave birth. Literally went to school until 3 days before I gave birth. Tell me about my God. So obviously that came with a lot of challenges, because I obviously had to wear baggy clothes. I could not afford to wear pants because pants were just going to make it so obvious. So I had to wear like a baggy skirt, and I was a baddie in high school. So obviously, like back then, guys, I used to wear like mini skirts and stuff like that, but I traded that in for oversized skirts. And I used to wear this jacket that we used to wear in winter. Like, it was a winter jacket, and I used to wear it in 90 degrees heat, guys. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but like, it would be blazing hot, and I would be wearing that jacket simply because I had to hide it somehow. So I feel like even if people had speculations, it would be more of a thing of she just looks fat instead of like pregnant, So I started wearing my baggy clothes. I started bringing like frozen water to school to keep me awake in all of my classes. I had to trade in my accounting for geography, because at least geography, like, you could just study it at home and just cram pass and forget. But accounting, you literally had to understand the work. So I traded in my accounting for geography, and it was just a bunch. Like, it was like an extra job for me, to be honest. It was an extra job because why do I have to go through all this just because of the school that I'm in? Because neighboring schools also had these situations, but they would treat the mothers equally the same as other students, maybe just more cautious, but they would just treat them the same. But with us, we just had to be like, they were actually trying to fail us, to be honest, because they kept on telling you, no, you have to stay at home 3 months before and 3 months after. Okay, cool, I understand that, but like, you're failing me basically, because I'm not getting my work. What am I gonna do in those 3 months, like in those 6 months basically? So yeah, so that was my story, and it was so hard because even the people around me, I lost a lot of friends first of all. And yeah, so eventually the friends that did stay with me, they also faced a lot, because like literally when they would walk with me, the entire school, or what felt like the entire school's eyes, were on us. So it was a very, very hard time for us. Okay, for me specifically, but like, I feel like they also experienced a lot due to my pregnancy, because it affects a lot of people. I mean, I had a family meeting like where they were telling my sister, you're gonna have to protect her at school, you're gonna have to fight for her because people are gonna say bad things about her, and it's just gonna be a lot even on you. And it was so low, like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Whew. We got through it by God's grace. Because I literally like went to school up until 3 days before I gave birth, and I went back to school 8 days after giving birth. Like, I just waited for her umbilical cord to fall off, and then spent about 2 days at home, and then I went back to school. And I would literally go to school with like 2 shirts, because my shirt.
Let me tell you something about me that people don't usually put 2 and 2 together, but I'm a teenage mom. When you meet my adult children, that means that I had to have had them when I was a teenager. So my little one is 21 and my older daughter is 27, and I had her when I was 18, and I actually left home when I was 17, 18? Yeah. For a long time, I think people used to use that title, teenage mom, as some kind of negative scarlet letter that I was supposed to be ashamed of. And I just could not be ashamed. I really wasn't about courage. I just didn't want people to tell me how I was supposed to feel about myself. Like, I am still a teenage mom. It doesn't ever leave you. Being a teenage mom is what shaped me into the woman I am today. Being a mother, like, literally made me who I am today. I feel like, especially right now, because it's like back to school and all that, my little one is in her senior year of college. I just feel like, wait a minute, this is a moment to like sit back and take stock and be really proud of all the love and care that I poured into my babies. Oops. I've been doing a lot of reflection recently because my daughter is starting her senior year of college, and I just look at my children and I can only feel proud. I can only feel thankful that along the way I had so much love and support, and it was hard because my family was not thrilled with me, having a baby when I was, 18 years old and being a senior in high school, like doing all the things. I was literally the only girl in my entire high school that was pregnant. And it was, I'm sure, a big embarrassment for my family. But at the same time, there was something inside of me that was like, well, I guess people are just going to judge me and that's just going to be my story. Like, I'm over here proud as hell that I created and raised two amazing, beautiful, kind, loving, smart, confident, capable young women. Like, I was told so many times that, what type of children I was raising, how they were going to end up, that, kids raising kids, like all the things. This was the 90s. It was like the time that catchphrase was running around. Anyway, and now I just like sit back and I just am so proud of my babies and I'm so proud of us, and it just feels really amazing actually. I remember very clearly having to be snarky when people would say, oh, you don't look old enough to have a kid that age, or when did you start having kids? And I used to just say, oh, I was 12, and just wait to see people's reaction, just because it's a really rude question anyway. But I'm not snarky anymore. I don't say it like that anymore. But at the time, that was like what I used to say. But I just want to hop on here because our girl is feeling really proud of herself and really proud of the young ladies that she's raising and raised. And yeah, I am a teenage mom. I think the bottom line here, Levies, is that I'm not embarrassed of my history, and my history is what created the woman that I am today. And today is my day of just reflection, looking back on the times of when I felt less than, or when people tried to make me feel less than, and not letting it, change me or push me to be a person that I'm not. And I'm really proud of myself, and I would love to look back and tell my 18-year-old self, you got this, you're gonna be an amazing mom. Okay, I know this was like a really long conversation and kind of a deep one, but if you hung through it all, thank you for listening. And if you needed to hear the little words of encouragement from one teenage mom to any teenage mom out there, or any mother out there, you got this. And bye, babes.